Hello there, this is Sarklan. So today we are going to write our first program in x86 assembly in Windows 10. So first of all, I will tell you guys what tools you would need to write the program. So there are two things that you need to download. Actually, there are more than two things which you need to download. I will give you guys the link in description where you can find out these tools there, and you can freely download it from there. So the first thing you need is this DosBox, which we can use to write our programs here. So all you need to do is simply install it by simply double clicking on it. I've downloaded it. I can install it just like this. It can't be any simpler. Look, it's completed. I close this one. Now I have got one more folder here, which is of the name MP. The name doesn't matter here. You can modify the name here too. If I open it, you would find a couple of tools, a lot of tools in here. You can find link, MASM, TASM, edit, debug, and some other tools too, which we will use in our future programming in assembly, in x86 assembly. So it would be better if I copy this from here. I copy this from here to local disk C, so that I can easily mount it when I am writing programs. So I can paste it here so that I can easily access it while coding. So going back to the desktop, now the desktop DOSBox has been installed here, and you could see the shortcut for this. You can simply open it by double clicking on it. So this is the interface of DOSBox. So for writing programs in assembly in DOSBox, what you need to do, if you remember, we pasted a folder named MP in local disk C. We need to connect our DOSBox to that folder, so that we can access those tools like MASM, TASM, link, those tools. We need to access those tools from there. So we need to mount this by writing the following command. So in my case, the folder name was MP, so I would write MP here, and it was inside C. So if you have some other address, you can write the other address here, and if you have some other name for your folder which includes all the tools, you can write that tool, that name right here. So I'll simply press enter, and it will say that drive C is mounted as local directory, and I'm now calling things inside the MP. So I had some things inside the MP, but still I need to currently look. I am writing commands to Z, which is not what I want. So I want to move into C. So what will I write? I will simply write C, and I'll then give a colon, and then I'll press enter. Now I'm inside C. Now I can use the tools that I defined inside MP. So one of the tools inside MP was edit. Edit is used to write codes in DOSBox. If I write something like this, edit, let's say I'm saying new file.asm. So the extension for assembly programs in x86, especially in DOSBox, is .asm. So if I write something like this in DOSBox, what will happen? First of all, it will search for a file with this name. If this file already exists, it will just simply open it, but if it doesn't exist, it will be created. Let's say I'm pressing enter. Look, if this file wasn't existing in my computer, so it is now created in my computer. So if you are familiar with the syntax of x86 assembly, you would definitely be very comfortable with this video. But if you don't understand the current syntax or program structure, I would try to explain it up to a level. So the first thing I need to write is, I would go to the simplest I can do. I would write model small. So what am I doing in the first line? I'm specifying the size of my program. So you can write comments after using a semicolon here. You can write any comment that will be ignored by the assembler. So what am I doing in the first line? I'm simply specifying the size of my program by this small keyword. I can change this value to huge, or I can write compact here. We will come to this section in our future videos too. Moving on, I will write 100H stack. Now what am I doing here? I'm specifying the size of my stack. Now if you are familiar with programming languages and programming, you would know that for every programming language there is a background stack that is trying to manage your program. So right here I'm giving a size for my stack, which is 100 hexadecimal values. You can also convert this into a normal decimal number. I think it's around 256 something. So the third thing is the data directive. What do we do here? We specify the variables here. If I'm trying to create any variable inside my program, I would write those right here, but currently I'm not dealing with any variable, so I would skip this part and I go to the code section. Here what are we trying to do? Here we are specifying the actual program. So where will I write my actual program? It will be inside the code section, but I won't write it just like that. I would need a procedure in my code section, and I'll end my procedure like this. Now what is a procedure? A procedure is simply a function. If you are familiar with any programming language, you might be familiar with the word function. So in some programming languages it is also called as modules. In Java it is called as method. So in assembly we call it procedure. Now we call a procedure by PROC keyword in assembly language in x86, and this is the name that I've given to my procedure. So this is how you start a procedure, by giving any name and writing procedure in front of that, and you would write the name here and you would write end procedure or end P here. This will terminate the procedure. But after writing this, after terminating your procedure, you would need to write end main2, which will terminate the whole program. So coming inside the main procedure, what will I do? Let's say I'm writing a program to print a single character on screen. Let's say I'm trying to print X on my screen. So what will I do? I will write the following instruction first. Now first of all, X is a single character, so for writing characters and strings you would need single or double quotations in assembly language. So what am I trying to do right here? I'm trying to move X inside the data register, which is of 8 bits, which is what? 8-bit data register. I'm trying to move X inside the data register. Now why am I trying to move X into data register? If you want to print anything in x86 assembly, it needs to be in the data register. So that is why I'm moving X into my data register, and the name of data register is what? DL. So I can call my data register by writing this. By writing this, what will happen? The X will be stored in my data register. In the second line, what will I do? I would write AH2. I am trying to move 2 inside the AH. Now what is AH? AH is the accumulator register, so I am trying to move 2 into accumulator register. But now this 2 is not a normal integer. Now if I write this, what will happen? Now this 2 is not a normal integer. This 2 has a meaning. If I am moving 2 inside an accumulator register, it means that I want to print a single character on screen. Yeah, it may seem very odd, but it is what it is. By doing this, I am trying to tell the computer that there is some data inside the data register. You need to pick that up from here and you need to print that on screen. But it will only happen if I create this interrupt. So what am I doing here? In the third line, I am creating an interrupt which will help us to perform the above thing. Whenever I write anything like this, whenever I move some data inside the accumulator, I would write this interrupt 21h. That will help us in doing the above task. Now after doing this, by writing only these 3 lines, the X will be printed on screen, but I need to finish my program with the following code, which is what? 4ch and interrupt 21h. By writing this line, what will happen? My accumulator register will be cleared and DosBox program will be closed to. Will be closed. So by writing this, what will happen, by moving 4ch into h, we mean that we want to clear the accumulator and we want to finish my this program which is written in DosBox, and I would again follow it by interrupt 21h, because whenever I'm trying to input something inside the accumulator register, I would also write this interrupt to notify the CPU that I have done some operation with the accumulator. So my code is now completed. I would simply save it from here. I would exit my edit. I would give it to the MASM, which is Microsoft Assembler, by simply writing its name and following it by a semicolon. I'll press enter. There is no error or warning here. I would then give it to the linker. Right now, after assembling my assembly code, I have an object file. I would write the obj here. I would write the extension as the obj, and I'll finish it with semicolon, and I'll give it to the linker, and I'll press enter. Now I'm ready to go. Now I'll be able to run my program just like this, exe, and I'll press enter, and look, here is my output, which is what, x. So this is how you write a program in assembly language. You can also do some other things with it. If you want to know about all of them, please keep following us so that we will share more things like these with you. Thank you.